Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. I'm Bob Lennon, President of Thermalwood Canada and host for the show. Our special guest today, the Kilted Chef. Welcome, Alain Bossé, to the show today.
Bonjour. Nice to see you.
Well, I met you a couple of weeks ago at the Blues de la Baie. You put on this fantastic meal for the people on the first night of the opening of the festival. And by the way, that dirty rice that you made, that's excellent. Please keep on serving that. Don't ever lose that. And you told me that the recipe was on Facebook, so I'm going to go get it and try it out myself. So I'm looking forward to it. So, Alain, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're doing a whole bunch of things. You're promoting Atlantic Canada. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, my name is Alain Bossé. I'm better known as the Kilted Chef, and I consider myself the Atlantic Canada culinary ambassador. I've been the Saltscape magazine food editor for the last 15 years. I also do a CTV, more or less, a show called What's for Dinner, broadcast through Food and Beverage Atlantic every year. I'm a member of the Taste Nova Scotia board as well. And I've been literally doing culinary in Atlantic Canada for years. I'm sort of starting to feel my age a little bit, but I left Edmundston, New Brunswick, a beautiful community of New Brunswick. I was 17 or 18 years old and never looked back. And you know what? I've never had the pleasure of working in my community in Edmundston as a chef or otherwise. I've always been in Nova Scotia, but I traveled the world promoting our amazing commodities of Atlantic Canada. So that is obviously the lobster, the crab, the oysters, the scallops, the wild blueberries, our maple syrup, and the list goes on. And my main job that I do is I do a lot of the big trade shows, whether it's in Asia or in Peru or in wherever, all over Europe, all over Canada, and all over the US. And one of my main priorities is to train chefs how to use those amazing products.
Oh, okay.
Because when you go to China, they're just new to lobster. It's new. And the media makes you feel that, Asia is our biggest market, right? It's not. I mean, it only represents 16 or 18% of our market in lobster, for example. But it's a developing market where there's tons and tons and tons of potential for future as we keep growing, of course. And so my job is to go and educate the chef on how to use these amazing critters. And at the same time, when we're there, we're always give back. So we team up with those chefs to work with the culinary students, the up-and-comers, on how to use these products. Mussels, another example from Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland. And the list goes on. So that is basically what it is. And then that crazy COVID hit. And then we decided to do a live show. We were bored of sitting on the couch for after a week, where I'm a busy beaver. I need to be busy. And we started this live show on Facebook for the fun of it to help people cope through the pandemic, of course. And 55,000 followers later and 550 shows later, here we are today. So that is alive and well and doing really well. So now our whole marketing and strategies have changed, and we do very little smaller events. So Caroline, very persistent, hard worker for your community, convinced me that I had to be there for the Festival de Blues de la Baie. And I was, and I think it was their first ever dinner. So we went out to help out. And the theme was Cajun, of course. So we did the dirty rice traditionally. Now, the recipe that's on my Facebook is an adaptation to Atlantic Canada. But what I did at the dinner was an original one. And that is with chicken liver as our base, which a lot of people, if I would have come out and say, oh, yeah, this is full of, I don't think it would have gone well, but the flavor was incredible. So sometimes you got to do the little things, right?
Yeah, but it's amazing that you're going around the world and you're talking to people about what we have to offer for food. And Yeah, we always think of seafood, but you know, you talked about the blueberries, you talked about the maple syrup. We have so much to offer in Atlantic Canada that sometimes we kind of forget. We forget what we have, and you're having a chance to be our ambassador and be out there and talk about that.
Well, I'll give you an example that's pretty cool on the exact same subject. I did a dinner at the consulate in Japan, the Canadian consulate in Japan, for our wild blueberries buyers. And there was 150 company executives there. A lot of them have been to my home personally because when we invite the Japanese to come and visit the fields, the blueberry fields and so on, and we finish by having a nice dinner at our house and so on. And it was my turn to go to them instead of them coming to us.
Okay.
So when we did that particular dinner, every single one of those executives were like, oh my God, the chef is here and we're going to learn more. So I did a 12-course meal from savory to sweet in the consulate related to wild blueberries. Incredible. And that obviously results into sales. That results into, we sell a huge amount of wild blueberries into Japan. For them, it is considered a luxury to have wild blueberries and wild blueberry juice and wild blueberry byproducts like powders and chewies and crunchies, blueberries that are being done now on the market and so on and so forth. So pretty fascinating stuff that I get to do. But for them, it was all about entertaining us at the same time. So I got to eat in some of the best restaurants in Japan, meet some of the amazing chefs, got to eat blowfish, which I had never done before. So for me, it's also just as much a culinary experience everywhere I go than us bringing the product as well, right?
Yeah.
So
but it's more than just like when you're talking about this, and I'm thinking about this as a business all the way through and stuff. Yes, there's great experiences that are happening, but it's more than just going to a trade show or going and showing people how to use the food. You're bringing them here. There's a whole barrage of different activities that are happening around that single objective of selling a Atlantic Canada product.
Exactly. I mean, when we're in Qingdao at the largest seafood show in Asia, what do you think is the number one product we're working with? What brings the crowd to our booth the most? We usually have 10 to 12 kiosks of all the major seafood supplier in Atlantic Canada. But the number one thing that brings people to the kitchen is sea cucumber.
Really?
You would think lobster, you would think, I mean, they love it all. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why we're there. We want to educate them, let them know. But they know about sea cucumber. And sea cucumber is something that we do in Newfoundland and in Nova Scotia that is huge. And we don't even eat it here, and we don't even know what it is here. And in all fairness, we have it all over our shores. And it's a bycatch, and we usually throw it out. But now somebody's turned into a major industry. So there you go.
That's incredible. And all of this is an incredible story. And I really appreciate the fact that you've come on the show today to talk to us about these things and to let us know as Atlantic Canada, and living here, of the things that we have to offer, that sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees and we don't see what we have ourselves, but it's pretty amazing.
But I'll give you another last one, I promise. I know I love to chat, but I just love to educate people. But we have an algae, like, how we eat dulse, right?
Yeah.
And we catch it off our shores and we grate it and dry it and we eat it salted like that. Well, there is also an Irish moss that we do gather. And the Irish moss is sent to a little plant called a Acadian sea plant. They've developed this moss. So they ship the moss into Asia. They, in turn, turn it into nori. You know what I mean by nori? The California sushi?
Yeah.
So yeah. California roll is wrapped in nori.
Yeah.
It comes from here.
Oh,
it's sent to China, dried up, turned into sheets, sent into sheets, packaged, sold back to everybody around the world. but that's where it's from. And it's a small little company here out of Atlantic Canada. It's amazing what goes on behind the scenes that people don't know.
Well, that's the other thing about, I've lived here all my life, but one of the things that I really notice in different meetings I go to and different people I meet is that we're not a culture that boasts about what we do. And so because we don't brag about it, we don't boast about it, we don't know about it ourselves. And we should communicate that even more.
I'll give you a fun joke. My mother passed away a few years ago. And I've been doing a show and it's a traveling show. It goes in the 4 provinces. It goes either in Calgary, or it's in Vancouver, or it's in Montreal or Toronto. And it rotates every 4 years. And the show is called Seattle. And forever, my mother thought it was a special show just for me, that people came just to see me. It was so funny, right? At 95 years old, you don't argue. You just say, oh, yeah, that's kind of funny. But no. You're right. We raised with the Canadian culture. We're always very proud. Kudos to all of us. We enjoy, but the amazing accomplishments that are happening behind the scene by amazing New Brunswickers is absolutely incredible. We just don't like to talk about it because we don't like to exactly boast about ourselves. But sooner or later, somebody has to recognize the fact that there's so many of this that's happening, and all to the benefit of all of us, right?
Well,
yeah.
I really want to thank you for sharing the story with our followers today, and appreciate the fact that you're out there as our culinary ambassador in all these different countries that you go in, to allow them to find out and discover who we are.
Yeah, and let's not forget about our own backyard. I mean, our own backyard, it's the best place to live in the world. Do not ever forget it. And don't forget the fact that when we show up with lobster, crab, oyster, sea cucumber, blueberries, we always bring the best product available in the market in the world. Don't forget it.
There we are, a message from the Kilted Chef that none of us should forget. Alain, thank you very much for coming on the show today. Thank you very much for sharing this. Very much appreciated all the way through. I wish you the best of luck in your continued business, the way that it's changing and evolving through all this. And again, appreciate it. And thank you very much for the meal that we had a couple of weeks ago.
Retirement's coming soon. I need a Kilted Chef guitar so I can learn how to play guitar.
Well, let's see.
No, I'm just teasing you.
Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can work something out.
See what you can cook up back there.
Absolutely. So there we are, the Kilted Chef. And another edition of Northern Heat for this week, the place you come to listen to the stories that haven't been discovered yet.